Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith, and today we're going to be talking about how to start a successful business. So for this video, I'm going to be using myself and my current business as an example on how you should start a business, how I acquired the skills to start a business, and the guidelines to actually choosing what business you may do, your product, your service that you may offer, and it's gonna be very, very informative. Now, what this video will not be is how to start a business in the technical sense, like getting an EIN number. If you want to see that type of information, I have another video that will show you how to do that, and of course, how to structure your business. But this is going to be for people who want to know what type of business they should start and then how to effectively grow that business to be successful and start making money from that business. I think there's a lot of videos that, of course, show us how to set it up, how to get the EIN, the license, business credit, but no one really ever talks about what it actually takes to run a successful business, or how we even come up with the idea of what we should do for a business. So I just wanted to make sure that I definitely touched on that. So you guys are going to get a lot of value out of this. I can assure you of that. So here's the agenda. We're going to be talking about picking a talent or skill, and I'll get more into that with an example, of course. We're going to go over learn from work. It's an important factor that I think every person should actually do, because we all gain experience from a lot of different places. And then I'll go into that. Solving a problem, start a business plan, results, and improvements. So these are going to be the 6 steps. You can call them 6 phases, but it's going to be 6 parts that I believe have helped me create an effective business, where in the next, I would say 6 months, we're almost in June now, this business should make me 6 figures, and I'll probably be making a video on that, how much I made, how I scaled it, I can then go into detail once I actually have all of the information for a full year. All right. So let's get right into it. And number 1, we're going to be talking about picking a talent or skill. Now, I'm sure that you're thinking, what does that have to do with starting a business? But I'm going to definitely get into that. And I'm going to give you an example, of course, using myself. And I want you to use yourself as an example as well. While I'm going over this information, you should be asking yourself a few questions. So one question that you might ask is, what are you good at? Some people will watch this and they'll say, I'm not good at anything. I'm going to get to that. But whatever it is that you are good at, if you have something that you're good at, is there a way to turn that talent into a viable business? And if you are able to do something like that, you're already halfway there. Like, that's really half the battle. Most people, they don't know what they actually want to do for a career, for a business, for work. You have to figure out exactly what it is that you think that you are good at. But if you're not good at anything, that's okay. Stay with me. If you don't have a talent or a particular skill that you're aware of, then let's discuss how you can narrow that down, because I can almost guarantee everyone has something that they can offer, and there's always a way that you can turn that into a business or some type of service that you can provide to other people. So I want to, again, use my story. Everyone has a passion. Everyone has a talent. Everyone has a skill. One of these things you will have. Something you're passionate at does not have to mean that you're good at it. Your talent, that's going to be something that you have an innate ability to do. And skill is something that you've gotten good at over time with practice or with training. So for me, my passion was always music. So I spent a majority of my early 20s trying to pursue that. But my passion wasn't exactly something that I could turn into a viable business. Even though I did make money from it, it was not enough money to keep up with the cost of living. There were a lot of different ways that, like, for example, when it comes to a music stream, I can't even tell you what the amount I'm getting paid is. If you were in a business where you can't even say how much you're getting paid for work, it doesn't make sense. Which then I had to, kind of come to terms with myself. If I'm passionate about this thing, I would do this thing for free. It's my passion. So I didn't necessarily have to turn my passion into a business, right? And that's something for everyone else to decide. If you're passionate about something and you can turn it into a viable business, I suggest that you do it, because this whole process will become much easier for you and you're going to have a lot of fun. Now, passion aside, let's talk about talents and skills. My talent, and everyone has a talent, my talent is my retention. I have the ability to retain a lot of information in a very short period of time. I always have. And right now, hopefully you're asking yourself, what's your talent? Now, if you just don't know what that may be, or you truly believe that you don't have a talent, the last thing that we can rely on is a skill. Now, if you don't know what your skill is, you would need to start to develop a skill. And I can tell you, there's plenty of skills that you can learn online. You can learn how to build a website. I wasn't great at editing videos. I'm getting better. If you guys look at my first video and look at this current video to date, you can see all the improvements that I made. I didn't just become this good at doing something, if this is even good. I had to do that over a certain period of time. So if you do the same thing every single day, you learn anything. It doesn't really matter what it is. You learn any industry. If it's culinary, if it's media, if it's video games, it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to, develop a skill for something over time if you do it every day. Everybody has that same situation. So even if you don't think that you have one, you do. Here's my example. For 13 years, I worked in commission-based jobs. I did sales jobs forever. From my sales jobs, I learned communication. I learned closing. I learned about, asking the right questions, all open-ended questions, assumptive sales, getting to know people, just learning how to handle all types of individuals. I use my talent for my retention, and I use my skill for sales. And that's kind of how I came up with this YouTube channel. A lot of the information that I was looking up every day was about finance, just because naturally it was something that I was enthused about and I was into. And I didn't want to teach anybody or talk about it. It was something I just did. But as much as I tried to avoid it, I realized I knew a lot of information. Well, this information must be valuable to somebody, right? So if I took my information, because I could retain this so quickly, and then also put it into action to show people, and I took my communication skills, I feel like they're effective enough, I can take this and turn it into a business. So even if you don't think that you have that right now, hopefully just this portion of the video kind of puts the pieces in front of you where you're like, okay, well, I'm good at this, or I'm talented in this, I'm skilled in this. How can I take these two things and bring them together? So hold that. All right. Just keep that, and we're going to come back to it. Just keep that in mind. Let's talk about number 2. Learn from work. Now, all of the things that I've learned, I've acquired from work. I worked a lot of jobs. I would say probably in the last 13 years, I probably worked for 4 or 5 Fortune 500 companies. These companies spend an exuberant amount of money to train the people who work there. And sometimes if you work in insurance, or maybe you work in brokerage firms, things of that nature, you can actually get certifications paid through your employer. So you can learn a lot from working on a job. Even the most, the most entry level jobs you can learn. If you observe what they do, you're going to see that a lot of businesses do the exact same thing. So when you work for a few Fortune 500 companies, or you work for even a few different companies, you're going to learn like, oh, this is business education in real time, right? It's real time education that you're getting on the job. Now, from my sales jobs, I learned, and my jobs in finance, because I did work for a few banks, and they always were usually a commission-based environment with some hourly as well. But on the job, I learned delegation, I learned management, I learned leadership, I learned teamwork. These are some of the most effective skills that I learned from working a job. Now, the thing is, if you start a business, there's not going to be a boss or a manager to tap you on the shoulder and tell you to get back to work, or tell you when to take a break or anything like that. You are self-governed. You're going to have to learn how to manage your time to effectively run your business. Even for me, I'm on a schedule. I wake up at a certain time. I do things at a certain time. I have goals. I have metrics. I learned this from sales jobs. You get to work every day. They go over all of your goals. You look at your monthly goal. You look at what you've done, your revenue. You follow up on leads. You do all of those skills that I learned from years and years and years of working in the same environment. I apply today to what I'm doing. I apply it to YouTube. There are metrics and analytics that I use. I have goals. I know how many subscribers, how many views I'm looking at. I know my impressions. I know my watch. I know all of it. And I use that information to create other content. And when some things work, they work well. When they don't work, I go back, I tweak it. The point is, you want to learn from work. I would not take work for granted. Go to work, be effective at your job, and take that education back and apply it to your business. A lot of us end up starting businesses from the industries that we've worked in. So that's another tip. Look at the industry that you're in. What have you learned? How can you take that information and now apply it? Okay. And here's one of the other things that's very, very important. How you do small things is how you handle big things. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is make up my bed. I go to the gym. I shower. I clean. I eat. All at a certain time. I get to my desk. If I'm not recording something, I'm sending out an email. I'm responding. I have a schedule that when I get up, it's the same as any job. I clock in at 8 o'clock. I don't clock out until 5. I don't even touch my bed. That's why I make it. I don't touch it. How you do small things is how you'll do the big things. So the most important thing about this is, if you are at work, and trust me, it's been days where I've wanted to cry because I just didn't want to go to work. It was that bad. When you go to work, do your best job. Even if you don't want to be there. I know. But do your best job. There were times where, I would do things just half big, not really done well. And then I would think I'm going to come home and I'm going to work effectively on whatever I care about. I was trying to conserve energy to be more effective at my side hustle or my business, and then try to give half the effort at work. But it's a mentality. If you give half effort at work, you're going to give half effort with everything else in your life. So just learn from your job, get the on-job business education, take back what they've shown you, because they put so much money into doing it. They may not be explicitly telling you, but just be observant and also do the best that you can at that place that you don't want to be. Because then when you have to start to do things on your own and you're self-governed, having your own business or being self-employed, you will have no problem being effective in managing your schedule and keeping yourself accountable and making sure that you're staying on task when you need to be on task. So again, it's the little things. Now, with that said, we're going to get into number 3, solving a problem. Now, here's the thing. We just talked about one, we're going to find either a skill or a talent, something that we know that we can do very, very well. We're going to take whatever it is that we know that we can use. We know that we're going to learn good business practices and good business habits just from doing our everyday jobs and being observant. Because I'm sure you could think back to anything that you've done before and you can use it to apply that to something that you can do in your business, especially when it comes to time management. Now, every single business does this. Every business has to solve a problem. You got to solve a problem for somebody. So check this out. The most successful companies in every field, they've reached a pinnacle in their respective industry by presenting solutions to everyday problems. Every single company. It's either with a product, a service, or a combination of both. Now, how you and your business go about accomplishing this can be the difference between short-term profit and long-term success for years to come. Once you've chosen, I'm going to use this skill, I'm going to use this talent, think of how you can take that talent or that skill and turn it into a service or turn it into a product. Again, I'm going to use myself for example because these are the questions you need to ask yourself, and then you'll do the same thing. So if I'm starting a business, it has to be something that I know I can do effectively, right? Or maybe I'm offering a product that can definitely solve a big issue. Maybe I had this issue. Maybe the job I worked at, the clients had this issue and I knew how to solve it, right? For me, for finance stuff, I provide information. If you're watching this video, you wanted to get some information on how to start a successful business, right? This information is providing a service. I also have products that I can attach to it. I have ebooks. I have coachings. From my effectiveness to communicate and also learning how to sell, I am actually selling myself in digital products. On top of that, there's affiliate links, there's sponsorships. I have to sell myself to companies. There are, even it may not be as black and white as you think when you're starting to think about what you can do, but you can find a way to solve people's problems. And if you could find a way to solve people's problems, trust me when I say the business will just flow in. And that's when you'll have to start using some of the things that you learn from on the job learning to learn how to manage that business. Okay. So, the most important thing though, more than anything else, and I know we're trying to start a business to make money, but there's one thing I think that's more important than making money. If you provide a service or a product, people need value, right? You may want to make a business to make money, but I can promise you, if you provide people value and don't think about making money up front, just thinking about solving a problem and then being valuable, the money will come. It'll come in droves. You just have to find a way to solve people's problems and provide them with value. And again, I can't tell you what that is, but I just want to lead you in the direction to where maybe we can figure it out together, how you come up with all of this. So hopefully all of these questions and this is getting some stuff going and you're thinking, oh, you know what? I'm good at sewing, right? I'm good at sewing and I'm good at photography. And you start making niche clothing or something, and you could sell it on Etsy and you can promote it with social media and TikTok. And now you're providing people with this aesthetic that they love, and then you can push it this way. And then maybe you can also offer it to other brands to see if maybe they want to pick it up, a sample, and then they want to mass produce it. Like there's so many, and I'm spitballing things, right? But what I'm saying is like, there's so many different things that you can do. You just have to figure out what that is. But at the end of the day, whatever it is that you're doing, hopefully is solving a problem, whether it's entertaining people. Sometimes people need to get out of their reality. That's why they go out. That's why they try to have fun. That's why they need some distractions. Maybe you can be a form of entertainment to help them relieve stress with whatever it is that you're doing. And if you can garner enough attention, every brand in the world will want to market with you and pay you for that. Or you can have, again, like subscriptions to your service. There's so many different things that you could do. Hopefully this is, giving you an idea of how you start to cultivate that, and then how you're going to make a product or a service or a combination of both, and how you can be valuable to other people. And if you do that, I promise money will come. Money won't be an issue. It'll come when you do those things first. Now we're going to get to something that's more, we're going to get to something that I would say is more direct. You need to start a business plan. Once we've done all these things, we figured out what our skill or our talent is. And if we don't have a skill or a talent, or, we are starting to learn a skill that we can be effective at. Once you do that and you learn how you're going to use this to solve people's problems and provide them with value, cool. Let's start that business plan. All right. Now, if I were to sit and write a long, drawn out business plan, that could be, its own video. So I decided to break it down into 3 parts. And here's the process. Number 1 is emergence. Once you know what you're going to do and you know the service or product that you're going to provide, brand development is first. Emergence. You want to write a mission statement. Just simply put what your goals are and the values of your business. And then you want to create a system of operations. For example, if you're going to start a business, and for me, like, let's say that it was digital. You go back to the beginning of the year, this channel was non-existent, right? How am I going to get to people or have my operations? Well, the vehicle for my operations is going to be YouTube. I'm using this medium. I also have a combination of that and a Shopify channel and social media. This is how I'm going to create my system of operations to drive traffic and then to get them to whatever it is that the end is, right? And that brings us to number 2, marketing and market analysis. So a company needs to have a good handle on the current state of its industry and the existing competition. You should be able to survey the field of your industry and say, okay, that guy's the best. They're also very good. This person's very, very good as well. How can I compete? This is going to explain where your company, or your brand or your business fits in. Where do you fit into all of this? What type of customers do you plan to target? How easy or difficult may it be to grow this business? There are certain industries that are very niche where you will have to really, really dig to find the people who you want to work with. And then there are also businesses that you are going to have a lot of people who will definitely fall into that industry type. For example, if you sell food, if you have a food truck, there's a bunch of people that have a food truck, right? Everybody likes to eat. So you want to make sure that you're going to be able to, 1, effectively know who you're trying to target, how you're going to target them, and then also who's the competition and how can I fit in and compete with these individuals. You always want to do the market analysis. And then part 3 is execution. So this is the stage of the process where you want to raise brand awareness and you'll need to build a customer base. So either, in my case, at some point, if you want to start a YouTube channel, you have to put out a video, right? I could write all these plans down. Okay, I know I'm good at this. I know that I can help people if I do this. I'm going to come out. I'm going to make a video. This is who my target audience is. Cool. We did all of that. Now we got to put it out. And what's going to happen? Either it's going to go amazing or it's not going to be as good as we thought. Normally for everybody when they start, it's never as good as what you thought. But that's okay. That's a part of the process. Just like anything else in life. Nothing you do worthwhile comes easy. you have to go back and say, okay, yeah, that first video looked horrible, but I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna say it like this, I'll stop using buffer words, you start to make improvements, I'll become more effective, I'm gonna ask questions to people, I'm gonna ask them what they want me to talk about, I'm gonna start being more intentional, I'm gonna start providing more value. You're gonna start to figure out, once you execute, what is the best way to, to help your target audience, to help make your business more viable, whatever that is, whatever your business is. And of course, you'll know yourself better than anyone else, so you'll be able to answer that question. And this is going to be, I think in simple terms, this is going to be a very simplistic way to start your new business plan. So number 5, we're going to talk about results. Now, I told you I worked in sales, and for sales and commission jobs, if any of you have worked in them, you know that results, literally every day, all you're looking at is results. You're just looking at how you get to see on paper exactly how good you're doing every single day. Every single day, all you're talking about is the result. I think no matter what business that you're in, if you have large corporations, there's a team who handles this. But for you, you're going to have to handle this yourself. You're going to have to be able to know how effective you are based off the results after you've found your skill and passion. You figure out how you're going to solve a problem. You're going to provide people with value. You came up with the business strategy about how you're going to do it. You finally have executed, and you've done it for, let's say, a month or so, or a few months, and you're looking at the results. Now, when the results are in, you can start to see what it is that you're doing wrong and what it is that you're doing right. So I want to give you a brief story, a brief history. In 2008, a pair of San Francisco roommates named Brian and Joe built a website. All right. They were trying to house conference attendants who were shut out of an overbooked hotel, and they found 3 people who were willing to pay $80 per night for an air mattress and breakfast. They realized that they were onto something and created a website for people to rent homes and bedrooms. I'm sure at this point, you guys already know exactly where I'm going with this. So they knew that they were onto something. They just had an idea. The pair even recruited another friend. All right. And his name was Nathan. He was going to help them house attendees for the 2008 Demographic National Convention in Denver. All right. A lot of people signed up for their website. Sounds good, right? Sounds like everything's good. I had this idea. People like it. They're signing up. Only problem is it didn't make any money. Now, how could that be? How can people be signing up for this? It sounds good, but it's not making any money. What's going on? Their company was nearly bankrupt in the beginning, earning just $200 a week. Desperate, the 3 guys maxed out their credit cards and applied their design talents to limited edition cereal boxes. They started making cereal boxes to earn extra money to help continue their business. And they raised $30,000 by doing this. Meanwhile, they noticed something. They noticed something about their business. This is where, looking at the results kind of comes into play. They noticed that the people who were signing up for their website and putting together listings had really bad photos of the listings. They were really, 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 really bad. So they scraped all the money that they had. They flew to New York and visited 40 of their hosts. And their host let them know, okay, well, this is how we normally do it. And they said, all right, let's improve this because it's not looking the best. Let's make it look better for people that may want to stay, at your houses. So they improved the listings, and the profile photos that they updated performed better. They actually increased their sales 100%, and they made $400 per week, the most growth they had seen in 8 months. And more importantly, they spent time talking to their host. You want to talk to your audience, you want to talk to your clients, you want to talk to people. And the founder realized that they were capturing unique markets. They understood their market. So unlike chain hotels who craved, they were more of what's going on with the city. They wanted some people who wanted to be more authentic. They wanted the experience of staying in a residential area away from commercial centers, away from that. They wanted to feel like when they went to a city, they lived in that city. So they went with suggestions that they got from locals. They talked to locals. They found out some good things from them, and they overhauled their website. They made these improvements based on the results. And the company, of course, as you probably realize, was Airbnb. All right. They reached profitability in 2016. It took them 8 years to become a profitable company, even as local governments began passing ordinances to collect occupancy taxes, and then they outright banned Airbnb in some states. By late 2019, Airbnb was valued at $31 billion. So even when they became profitable, they still had to tackle a bunch of hurdles, right? This is business. The whole point of this story is nothing's going to work out the way that you think it is at the beginning, but you don't stop. You go back to the drawing board. You say, hey, this is what's wrong. This is what's right. And then once we do that, that is going to be the thing that will bring us into number 6, which is improvements. All right. For improvements, I put together 3 things I felt like were important. 1, you want to be consistent. If I were to get 2 views on a video, that won't stop me from doing 3 videos a week. That won't stop me. You want to be consistent. Whatever is working, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Remove any practices that aren't conducive to your business goals. Anything that's not working, you want to get rid of it. All right. You want to analyze your competition at all times. You want to have a pulse on your industry, a pulse on the field, a pulse on your area. You need to know exactly what's going on with this industry. Even if you're successful, do not become stagnant. Don't get complacent. That's the fastest way to start failing. You can be as successful as you want. Look at Blockbuster. Look at Redbox. Redbox replaced Blockbuster. Blockbuster replaced Netflix. And now if you go to Netflix, because they didn't have, in my opinion, they did not have enough original content to make their platform last. And in my opinion, I don't think Netflix is going to be a streaming service that will be, I'm not going to say it won't be around, but maybe it'll be acquired in an acquisition and merge with someone else later on. But the point is, if you start to get complacent in business and you don't analyze your competition, you can fail even after being successful. So you can't afford to ignore your competitors. Instead, take time to study and learn from them. Larger companies devote significant amounts of resources to obtaining that sort of information on their competitor and their competition's intelligence. So if you work in an industry now, look at the job you're working at. If you can do something or solve a problem, or you're good at this and you've acquired a skill, the reason why you were able to acquire that skill and you can solve a problem is because you know that industry in and out. You have a pulse on it. Don't ever lose that. And the last thing I would say is be creative. You want to learn from competition. You want to be consistent, but you always want to look for ways to improve your business and make it stand out from the competition. You always want to have that extra leg up where you're trying new things that maybe the competition never tried before. You know what's worked. You've seen what's worked. We all know what works. But don't be afraid to test out new things that could be even better. You want to be an innovator, not a follower. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn from what has worked. All right. Even though those may seem like contradictions, it's the only way that you can have a great business. You have to keep what works. You have to study the competition, but you also have to be willing to be innovative and to also try new things. Right. So that pretty much sums up my 6 steps when it comes to running a successful business, or 6 phases, however you want to look at it. I want to also just you want to be prepared to make sacrifices. Having your own business, it often requires putting in more time than if you were working a regular job. Despite what you may see on social media, and despite what it seems like people are trying to sell you, it's not easy. And that can mean spending less time with family, friends. It is you won't get the weekends, you may not get the vacation that you want. You have to work hard. Owning a business may not be for everyone as well. If after an honest self-evaluation, you decide that you aren't cut out for it, then you can save yourself a lot of time and grief, and probably a lot of money by just pursuing another career path. So even if you've done this, or maybe you watched this video and maybe it wasn't valuable to you, maybe it just had you thought, maybe that's not for me, but maybe it is for you. Hopefully it sheds some light on exactly what it takes to run a successful business. And while, of course, I could not tailor this to each individual situation, and while, I'm not able to sit down with you and create an exact plan that may be tailored to your needs, I hope that at the very least, if you do still want to start a business, you have an idea of how to come up with the idea. You have an idea of, product and service. You have an idea of how to provide value, and you have an idea of how to take this thing, come up with a business plan really quick, and then start to actually make moves to implement this stuff, and then start to improve it. Those are all the steps in a nutshell, and that is my summary. So I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any other maybe stories about your business, anything that you can speak to, please drop a like, or drop a comment, but also but comment. I would love to have conversations underneath this video. You guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.